Right, so we have a potential for an A++ setup here based off of the daily time frame at its potential support. Now, if you re-break the daily lows, you're anticipating price to come back down for sells, and we can repivot that. However, we are very much in a bullish direction on price action. There's a huge correction here, which yes, you can argue is some form of resistance, but if we start to develop some form of narrative, price action can still range through the day. Your 4-hour time frame previously came down for the bottom wick on the previous hour candle, but you failed to break the lows, right? So I was actually looking for a break of the lows on this current candle at 1 p.m. and unfortunately you never retested and broke the lows, which again doesn't meet my 4+1 requirement. Price action has now given you a very nice closure. Any form of rebreak of the high on that, I'll be looking at getting in. And matter of fact, my buy stop is going to get placed. Where did the 5 give me the closure? Respecting. That actually looks really decent for a buy even right there. So we're going to be triggered into that position pretty shortly. So if we can get, no. Break of the high is there. And then we'll set the stops when we're in. So this is support. Your risk off area is going to be here. So let's get that done. We're not yet activated just yet. All right, we're in that position now. And your stop loss is going to be placed below the lows here. 4605.3. Oh, that's perfect. So the risk is around, I think it's 250 ticks. Perfect. Now, the 1 minute time frame has given you some form of fake out. You're probably expecting price to come back down to 4520. Your risk off area here is 46.47. Let's mark that out on the charts. So that's your risk off area. We'll be moving stops to break even at that point. And my full take profit is at 47.37. So that's way higher than what we want. It's currently at 4655. We're going to change that, replace the order. So my take profit is all the way further up there, but we can look to trail positions at 4660. If price rebreaks its low, then we'll be looking at managing. 3 minutes left on the 5. If you can still rebreak the highs, that would be absolutely fantastic. 1 minute looks to be losing a little bit of momentum. So we're going to wait and see what happens. We'll have to follow the plan through here, yeah? So it's $5 per tick, we're risking about 250, so you multiply that by 5, you're risking about 1,250. It's a bit more than what we intended to risk. It's about 1.25%. If we can get rebreak of the highs, that'd be fantastic, yeah. But we are under the intention, the 4-hour needs to come back up, not necessarily, but the probability is a little bit higher for price to rebreak those highs to then start pushing you up to then challenge the rest of the day. If it can do that, that'll be fantastic. If it comes back down to retest its lows, then we know that maybe we weren't quite ready. However, the 1 hour has retested its lows once, if not twice. You've given us lower time frame confirmation that you're creating bullish structure. I'm expecting this to fill the wick and drive up towards 557 minimum. And we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with price action here. The low is set as your stop loss, so if we get stopped out, that would be the area there. Now we're just going to have to wait on price action to see what will happen. Okay, 1 minute time frame creating support at this area is positive. If price continues to push down, your next area of support is at 45.19. We'll be risk off at that area here at 45.47, which is what I'd really like to see on price action. Minute 20 left on the 5 minute time frame. Wait and see. Right, we've been given the first positive, which is the 5 minute giving you a closure above. I'd now need to wait for it to hold. I think if the 5 comes back down, we're going to be looking a little bit stressed. However, it's still a validated position. we're risking what we want to risk is about 1250 on risk exposure, 1.25% on the trade. Yeah, if it continues to come down, we might be a little bit chopped. It might be one of those days, but we'll see. Negative 600 right now. Yeah, let's see. You're going to come to stops, or are you going to keep pushing forward? I mean, everything in terms of the validation, you had the current range, you had the liquidity area that already got retested, you had the mirror on price action, which is to the left of the screen. We've even marked it out. We marked it out on the hour, which is literally mirroring this area here. To just push up towards this area at 46.59, we'll be looking to trail our position. 30-minute time frame also validates it. Previous candle closed you barely a bottom wick. You're within the range. You're expecting a rebreak of the highs. And the 15, same story. So all of the validations are there. We just have to trust the system. And this is the hardest part, because you really don't know if you're right or not until it actually plays out. So far, I'm confident with the 5. It's just that 1 minute trying to hold this support. If it keeps breaking the support and you come down to retest the lows again, it's going to be a little bit stressy, because you might risk getting stopped out just for price to rally once it's retested its low. And then that means I know that I have to wait for a proper closure of the 5 first before taking any form of rebreak of the highs. I need the closure, I need the retest, and then price pushing up. But so far, I've seen this position play. 1 minute is creating support. I'd need it to rebreak its highs, and I'd need this 5 to close me with the wick fill of this 5. Otherwise, you might be looking at a bit of a stressed position here. We'll have to wait and see what will happen in the next coming minutes. Alright, 5 is going the very wrong way. Very wrong way. You can see it will need a retest of the lows again. If it doesn't give me the closure above, which you're not, that's not looking very confident. You're going to retest the lows again. Yep, so we're probably going to see stop loss on this trade, which unfortunately for me is the negative minus 1.25%, which is putting me in drawdown. Again, a little bit frustrating, but yeah. And we don't have a trading day tomorrow, so it's just going to be back to square one. Yeah, we're just going to let this trade sit. If this 5 gives you a closure above, that's a fake out. It gives me more confidence. 15 top wick first, which isn't very nice. That confirms price will probably retest its lows. You want to get out of this position as quickly as possible. You're getting a little bit of mismatch on the alignment. So far, 4 hours still looks pretty decent. You've got 44 minutes left on that candle. The hour still looks like it should break its highs. The 30 still looks like it should break its highs. You only got 15 minutes left, but the 15 looks like it's going to retest its lows. And if this retests its lows, you're most likely going to see a stop loss to rebreak its low, to rebreak the 1 hour and 4 hour lows. Yeah, 5 looks like a retest too if it doesn't give me a fake out above. And your 1 minute time frame is closing below. Not great, not a fantastic reaction to price. It looks so good. We had news dropped with pretty decent numbers. It was mixed numbers, and gold had a positive reaction to come down, which grabbed us the retest of the lows. So we wanted to utilize that to our advantage, take the rebreak of the highs and use that momentum. But unfortunately for me, it looks to me like price is not looking too great just yet. We'll give it some time and we'll see what price wants to do. There's no way we just survived that. No, this thing's gonna have to rebreak its low. You kidding me? Oh my gosh. 5 has given you a closure below anyway, so you're probably gonna have to retest those lows again. You will get stopped out in this next 5. I'm not gonna adjust stops because that's the most logical stop I can give. The next available stop movement will be at 45.79. That's the rebreak of the previous 4 lows, which at that case, there's no point because you've used this as a resistance at 6.57, so you're just literally increasing the amount of loss that you're going to have. and I'm already at my risk limit at 1.25%. I'm actually over my risk limit of 1% per trade. It was an A plus setup. I still stick by it. The daily time frame, like I said, although it's very bearish, you're looking for some form of retracement. We're looking for London for this, and yeah, we finally got it based off the 4-hour time frame narrative retesting its low, the 1-hour time frame narrative retesting its low. I want this to re-break its high to give me a minimum wick fill at 46.58, and then that's where I'd be looking at managing positions by trailing, or at minimum a risk off the table. So if it continues to re-break its low, then we know that there's no longer a validity for me to get in. And if it comes out after wicking us out, then it's just a little bit of an unfortunate event because everything in the checklist was checked off. We were validated, I followed the plan through. And that is realistically what matters as a trader. So we're just going to have to wait and see and sit tight of what's going to happen here. 3.5 minutes left until the 5. I'd need closures above this white line at 619. If we can get closures above the white line, there is a strong possibility price will retest your break-even zone to potentially manage that position. I do not like that 5 closure. That 1 closure. Alright, so we've just had New York open. 30 came up for the top wick. If it retests the highs, you'd be going risk-free at that time. If price action re-breaks the 30 lows, then price action will probably retest the lows here to come down. The positive news is that you have closed above the white line, which is positive for me. In terms of probabilities, we are still in the winning trade. But there's always the probability of price action not listening, retesting its lows to then come back down and re-break the low here at 4604. We're still not out of the red yet. So we'll go ahead and wait and see. Your 15 looks okay. There is potential for a rejection. The 5 looks alright. Minimum, I'm looking for that re-break of the highs. When you get the re-break of those previous highs, you'd be looking at a risk-free. So we'll be shifting the risk-free line down to get out of this trade a little bit better in terms of the risk to manage that. Yeah, so we're back at that level now. That could be a resistance line here. That's a small resistance. Can we break through it? Alright, if I wasn't in this position now, I would be looking for the same play. However, now you've got the 30-minute time frame closing above. So you've got now a retest of the lows of the 30. If the 30 re-breaks its current high, I'd be looking at a buy. Obviously contingent that this re-breaks its high. So if we do re-break the high, we should still be in the same position. It still makes sense as logical price action. But if price action continues to break the lows, invalidating the trade. Therefore making sense that we'll get stopped out. Alright, 1 minute characteristics tell me that you're going to probably see stops here. Very strong confirmation you're going to see stops. 15 re-breaks the lows, 30 re-breaks the lows. The only thing that you still have going for you is the hour. We started to see some pretty good confirmation on the 1 minute time frame, which was respect of this support. However, this latest candle has given you a closure a little bit below this area. If we don't get a driving candle within this next minute, it's going to be chopped. For sure we're going to be chopped. Okay, the 1 minute candle has given you a positive indication. Now it needs to hold that level. Yeah, alright, this price action behavior tells me that you need more liquidity. So this is going to be a stopped out trade. Okay, the 1 minute's toying with you. I do not like this range at all. We'll wait and see what the trade play will be like. If we can come back to the break-even level, we'll be looking to manage. That's a re-break of the 30 highs, right? You've got the majority of the 30 wick fill. If you continue re-breaking the lows, I don't think we're going to survive that again. That was a miracle that we survived that. Stopped right there. So let's see. If you re-challenge those lows, I don't think we will have a chance to survive. I do not like that one bit. The only thing going for you now is a re-break of the 30 highs. We can challenge the daily highs, not the daily highs, the 30 highs. That would be pretty okay for us to keep going in the trade. I'd need this to break the previous 15 high, which is a little bit tough. I do not like the way the previous 5 gave me that closure. It tells me that this is still a resistance. If we can break it, fantastic. Perfect. We should get a pop. I just want to see that pop. I want to see the pop. We can go risk free. That's going to be your rebreak of the previous 30 high. That should be clean traffic for price to continue pushing up. This 5 is really bugging me. I'll say hi to Bubble Tea. Keeps me company on the trading sessions. Alright, so I will be moving my risk to break even. If that hits, that hits. We've gotten the minimum requirement that I needed off this 30 candle. So if we get a retest back to this area, there's nothing else I can do. That's 91 pips, 91 ticks in profit right now. Overall TP for this range is at 46.59. If we're willing to trail, then I'll be looking at potentially trailing my position at that area once we get a closure above 46.59. That is that's a pretty major resistance from London session. If we can get a breakout above, give me an hour closure in 13 minutes above this area at 659, then you'll be looking at trading a full range for free traffic and free money. But we've already secured the risk. Risk is off the table. I want the wick fill of the 1 hour, 12 minutes left. And we're in profits, which is good. We're up 835 currently on this position as it continues to push. If I can get that 1%, that'd be fantastic. Right, you've met that minimum requirement. So this is where the hour has filled the wick. You've got a 4-hour rebreak of the highs. There's potential for the 4-hour to fill that wick, which gives me a little bit more of a higher probability the hour should finish out. You've still got 10 minutes, which is a long way away for the 1 hour. We're up 1,500. That's 1.5%. Not a fan of that 5. I need a rebreak of the high on the 5. Perfect. If we can rebreak that high, get the pop. Alright, I'm trailing my stop loss to the break of that low. You rebreak that, price will probably come back down. Alright, there we are. We're out of that trade position. So we have secured, I believe, 269. We're up for the day $13.15. Wow. Okay, so let's bring up the trade journal here. Again, it's an evaluation account, so we're trying to go as aggressive as possible. That's 1,315 bucks. That's not too bad. 1315 divided by 5 is 263. So we secured 263 ticks on that trade position. There we go. Plan was followed, plan was executed. We showed pretty good discipline in terms of keeping the stops exactly the same. That was a previous mistake of mine. Now this thing is free to continue to push up. However, I understood that if you start to rebreak the lows of the 5, the likely chance of price action pushing back and down is quite high. Price is more than welcome to start pushing up. I still have more opportunity on the next hour candle. If you give me a wick to fill and a closure above this white line with a bottom wick entry, there is still potential to continue the range up. But I think I will call it here. I finished the day net positive, 263 ticks. There is nothing much more else I want from the charts. It's been a very good day. We'll call it here. You've got Good Friday tomorrow, Easter Sunday, Easter Monday. Take a chill pill and be grateful for what we got today, because ultimately the two or more years now, or third year, this is the start of my third year into trading, we're starting to see more consistency. We're starting to see more discipline in the trades, and the amount of trading psychology that has propelled in terms of matured in my head moving forward in the past 2 years has been absolutely phenomenal. So I'll take the win. We'll come back to see what price action is done. Will you continue to rally with my full take profit, or will we right to trail the position? We'll fill the journal out now, but it's an absolutely fantastic trade. Great, so we're going to wrap up the session here. We haven't quite hit the full TP yet. However, we had the trail out stops hit here, price continued to rally up. We've currently peaked on this trade 864 pips, which pretty healthy. Now, the journal, we've written it out, plus 263 ticks, that is $1,315, again on an evaluation, so this doesn't count, this is just progression. If we review the progression on my current evaluation account, we're sitting at 41% progression bar. We've hit, I think, about 2.5%, almost about 2.5% out of the 6% profit target that we need. It's the first funded challenge that I've actually properly attempted, that I'm not babying an account. I've actually followed the systems. I've gone through the process of utilizing a strategy and only vetting for A++ setups. The discipline has been shown, the discipline in the charts and outside the charts has been shown. So I think it's been a good day. This is a lot longer video. I think it's quite interesting to see how my behavior is when I'm on the charts, how calm or how erratic it would have been, but today has been a really, really good day. This is typically how my trading session looks like. And I just wanted to provide some value. This is exactly step by step how I look for a position, how I break down a position, how I enter a position, what goes through my head. Everything's been sped up. There is no cuts in this video. You can utilize this for your own benefit. It's for my own benefit to look back on as well. This is a model trading session. It's been an absolutely phenomenal day. Could I have caught more on the charts? Yes, but that is with anything. God has given me what he's given me today. I understand what my system was. I understand the plan that I utilized. I understood the risk that was on the table, the risk that I took off the table, and the risk that I was willing to take just by setting a stop loss at the break of the lows because of probability. That is my strategy. I'm executing it. We're learning from it. The goal is the same thing, is to pass this evaluation, to then get the funding account and pass that, or get the payout from that, and then recycle it. We're on the come up here. I can feel things starting to click, but we're not going to get ahead of the game. I have to remember, humble yourself, keep focused, and keep utilizing an A++ setup. It's been a great, fantastic week. We're up 41%. We've got a holiday tomorrow, and then I think we've got a holiday on Monday too. So we won't be trading those two trading sessions, but it has been an absolutely phenomenal result, which we will come back again on Tuesday and we will see what the rest of the progression can be. A++ setups only, but we have to accept the fact you're risking 1%. Today's been a bit over. You risked 1.25%, but we did come out in the green, and the stop loss was absolutely spot on. I could not have put that stop loss anywhere else. The hour break of those lows, the retest of that low, perfect. Everything was followed to the plan, and the execution was absolutely sublime. That's a wrap for the day, and we'll come back next week.